During cartoons on Saturday morning, there were toy commercials. So, you know, they very effectively marketed to somebody that, like myself, I didn't know what it was that I was seeing. All I knew is that I really wanted it. So I guess that was pretty effective. I started doing it in 2001 just as a comedy sketch, but it's been the only job I've been doing constantly since 2002. I mean, I haven't had another job. I took some time, I was doing the one-man Lord of the Rings, and I've written some new shows, but this has been sort of my bread and butter. You know, I think at some point when Star Wars kind of became geeky, you know, or I'm not really even sure when exactly that happened. People spent far too much time watching them or collecting toys. I kind of tried to shy away from them, and but by this point I'd already watched them a ton of times and sort of done a bunch of brain damage to myself in that way. I guess they kind of had a bit of a resurgence in 1997 where people seemed to remember it very fondly, and it had somehow surpassed geek status to this sort of, you know, epic status. And I guess I became comfortable with the idea of what a geek really is, which is that you can love something, you know, even if it is really cliche or really pop culture, you can love something and sort of wear your heart on your sleeve and find that there's other people that also share that same common interest. So that the time that was wasted when I was a kid suddenly became an investment. When I was a kid, everybody wanted to do Darth Vader because his voice was so low, and we're always like, like, any thought, you know, that type of thing. We just were too little to do it any justice. But Luke Skywalker, when I was a kid, and even as an adult, I find if I let my hair grow too long, it starts to take on this really weird Mark Hamill kind of look. Plus, he's so totally whiny, and I know that's the way that the character's written, but he comes across as this, you know, total whiner for really all three of the films. Even by the last film, the Return of the Jedi, he still has tinges of whining. So yeah, for me it was like, you know, but I was going into Tossie Station to pick up some power converters. Yoda. I think that when people do impressions, which all the shows they do, it's usually chock-a-block full of impressions. Some are good, some are bad. But when you do an impression, unless you have a voice that I've never seen before, people can do either Kermit the Frog or they can do Miss Piggy. And there you have Frank Oz or Jim Henson. And I can do, you know, hi ho, Kermit the Frog. I mean, I can do a Kermit the Frog, but I cannot, to save my life, do the Yoda that I feel comfortable with. So it sounds like I have Yoda issues, but it's just because, you know, after doing the show for so long, I've met so many people that do a fantastic Yoda, and I just have to say, well, you do a Yoda, I'll do Kermit the Frog. George Lucas had showed up at this party. It was a big official opening party that they had, convention in Indianapolis. And he literally flew in and flew out. He was there for about 5 hours and then gone. So he didn't stick around to see the show. But everybody else beneath him, and everybody else at Lucasfilm is beneath George Lucas, but everyone else pretty much got to see it. And I had to submit everything to them at certain points when I first started having contact with them. So as far as I'm aware, he's seen at least the 5-minute version, if not the 15-minute version, and perhaps even the 1-hour full-length version of it. If George says it's okay, then you're okay. Well, I remember watching those horrible films, Police Academy, when I was a kid, and that guy, Michael Winslow, who, you know, basically his whole shtick was doing helicopter noises and, you know, machine gun noises and Jimi Hendrix and stuff. I just thought that was the best thing ever. If you could do that, and when I first watched that, I didn't really have a concept of what it meant to make a living, so I wasn't really, you know, dogged by that. It just seemed to be something that he could fill up his life with, and I just thought that would be the best thing ever. But to me, the most sure way to have a career was to become an actor. And actors, I mean, that's a hard job as it is. Also to just try being fun and not being cowed by what you can and what you can't do. You know, girls tend to not be able to do a very good gun noise, and boys can. You know, so I guess if I kind of turned it around, it's like trying to do a show like this is using all the, you know, the hopes I had as a potential actor, and then mixing it with the person who really liked Michael Winslow, and that he did all these fun sound effects, and then mix it with a geek in a 35-year-old body, you know, and that's what you have with the show. Let's talk about a miracle of demographics. These people that are there usually know the films far better than I do, and you know, I kind of wish that I could do them all if I could, because they are the perfect crowd in so many ways. And I've been asked if I ever thought that they'd be really difficult to satisfy, or you know, that they'd be far more or far less forgiving, or far less, you know, scrutinizing of what I did to Star Wars. And if anything, people that are at conventions tend to have a far better ability to open their minds to, you know, fan fiction or expanded universe stuff. If anybody's taking my show seriously, there's something seriously wrong. R2-D2, where are you? But I was going into Tossie Station to pick up some power converters.